This is Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox.
So, Jim, I know we spend a lot of time on this program talking about planning for retirement for families, for couples. The reason I bring that up, though, is I saw this number here recently, and it really was sort of an eye-opener for me. There's roughly 11 million single women aged 65 and older living in the U.S. Many of those women either widowed or divorced and don't have a family. Now, those solo agers, they're basically navigating the retirement process without having a spouse to lean on. So, Jim, I ask you, I'm sure this is something you've encountered over the course of your career. What are some of the special issues this type of situation presents? And more importantly, how can you help someone if they're tuned in today in a similar situation?
I mean, this is a weekly occurrence. This isn't, I mean, when I say this isn't odd, I mean, this is common. This is a very common situation. Off the top of my head, think of a dozen people that are in this exact position. What are the biggest concerns? Because this is a lot to unpack, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to just have this story be about, those folks that are single, but I want to tie everybody into it as well, because I think it comes back to the same story. But let's talk about the biggest concerns I have in a scenario where, you have no family and, you have no children, you have no spouse, right? The reality, the one that screams at me the most is if something were to happen to you physically, right? And you break a hip or, structurally, you just get older and you have back problems and things like that. You don't have somebody to lean on, right? I mean, that's the big thing. I mean, I have so many clients right now that are dealing with back problems and, lots of dementia lately, right? Mm-hmm. It seems like that's another thing. And those with family members have it obviously way easier than those without, because they are able to, have someone who loves and cares for them, coming to their house and taking care of them. People, when you're by yourself, I mean, it's a struggle, right? How do you handle these things? So I think number one is going to be, in the event that you get to the point where you need some additional assistance, where do you get it from, right? Because it costs money, right? That's an issue. And then not only does it cost money, because some people have more than enough money, it's who do you find somebody that you can trust, right? Because we've all watched the news. Secondly, least important, I guess, or less important, is going to be what happens when you pass away. Who do you leave your money to, right? So those are the two unique things that separate those single folks from those people that are married or have children or things like that, right? Mm-hmm. And those are two huge issues, Kevin. Those aren't like minor things, right? Most of my single people, either because they never got married or they're widowed and they don't have children, they all have similar traits, right? They're trying to figure out, how do I spend my money down? And although it looks easy on a spreadsheet, I literally had a client in yesterday, she had a spreadsheet and it went, her balance started going red at a given point. She goes, so I will run out of money at 93 years old. And I was like, are we just making numbers up? And it's just funny because you can't predict these things, right? Like, I mean, you can take guesstimates on it, but you can't predict it. And what I want you guys to understand that planning, and this is a cop-out, I'm just going to acknowledge it so I don't have to beat around the bush. This is where planning makes all the difference in the world. This is when you deal with a traditional transactional firm like I was a part of for the first almost decade of my career, fall short, dramatically short, because everything is about products and selling them. Right? Mm-hmm. But when you work with a planning firm, when you work with somebody who really hyper focuses on understanding strategies of not only income, but long-term care, needs, tax efficiency, right? And of course, legacy planning. When you sit down and do this, it all becomes fairly simple. Because it really is just one big math problem. You shared with me, and Kevin, I wish we could share that call that your advisor in Philadelphia, I think you said, right? Was it
Chicago?
Philly? Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
God, I mean, she was upset that she was a single woman. She was very upset about it. She was estranged from her. And that pulls at my heartstrings, because if you're out there right now and you feel like you're alone, I'm telling you, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're not. Pick up the phone and call us. We'll walk you through this. We'll help you through it. If you have family and you still feel alone, there's people with family that feel alone, Kevin. Call us. And if you have 7 kids and 14 grandkids and a husband that you want to whack with a frying pan, pick up the phone and call us. Because the plans are still the plans. That's the key. The plan is still the plan. And what's interesting about that is that I see it day in and day out that so many people come in and their plan look like the last plan and look like the last plan. I see it time and time again. That things are the same. And not everybody's retirement is the same. My wife and I had, I won't say an argument, but we had a heavy disagreement on what a defined retirement income stream looks like. Because she says, we don't need that much money. Well, whose bills have I been paying then?
Right.
And I love her for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm paying her bills. I'm saying I'm the guy that pays the bills. And I know how much it costs to maintain a lifestyle. Yet she doesn't, because she doesn't know how much the holy Publix bills, right? Just start there, okay?
Right.
And if you don't think Chick-fil-A is a drug dealer place, you're wrong, because it is like doing drug deals there. It costs $100 every time we blow through there. And it's about every other day because we need our Chick-fil-A fix. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an opportunity for each and every one of you. And I hate getting on the air and I hate trying to beg you to call, but this is not something I can do over the air. I can't empower you to make this beautiful, amazing plan, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think most of you have the capacity to do it. Not because you're not intelligent. I think a lot of you guys are way smarter than I'm ever going to be. This isn't about intelligence. This is about mileage. This is about how many people have you seen navigate retirement. For you guys, it's maybe you or your brother or your neighbor or your cousin. For me, it's one of thousands. And I've seen every mistake. Well, I can't say every mistake because some of my clients are impressive. They will come up with new ones. But I will say that I've seen lots of problems and I've seen lots of really good decisions. And can I tell you a secret? And I'm just going to pull back the curtain, Kevin. Whenever we see things that were a problem in retirement for people, Kevin, we try to avoid doing that again. That's one of the rules that we have. So if there was somebody had a problem doing that, we kind of don't want to do that again. And if we look over here and this was really successful, we try and figure out, can we do that for Kevin and Melissa next, right? And the key is through these thousands of opportunities and these thousands of times that we've done this, we find a better system and we find better planning and we find better ways to communicate with you. And it doesn't matter if you're single. It doesn't matter if you're widowed, because Kevin, there's a difference between single and widowed.
Sure.
Ask your mom. She will tell you she's widowed. She is not single, right? Now from tax purposes, you're single, right?
Right.
But there's single, there's widowed, there's married filing jointly, there's married filing head of household, there's goes on and on and on. My job as a planner is to figure out what your situation is, what you want to accomplish, and does your savings have the ability to accomplish your goals? If the answer to that question is yes, I move on to the next block. If the answer to that question is no, your savings isn't enough to generate the goals in retirement, I have to talk to you about either working longer or changing your goals so you don't run out of money, right? It's that simple.
Sure.
But let's assume for just a second, regardless of if you're single or married, that your savings meets your income goals and you can accomplish it without the fear of running out of cash. Then I move into the next categories. How do we do it tax efficiently? How do we reduce risk while maintaining the best rate of return? How do, if you get sick, do we cover the long-term care needs? Not if, but when you die, how do we make sure that money goes to your beneficiaries in the most efficient manner? Kevin, that's the most simple approach to what I do. And it seems so simple that you can go and ask ChatGPT to do this for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not that simple. If it was, everybody would do it. If it was, every plan that walked through this door would be a home run. And I'd say, good job. You did a great job. See you never. And they leave.
Right.
That rarely happens because there's always options for improvement. Very few people talk about taxation. Very few people talk about what happens if you get sick. Very few people talk about how long your money's going to last for. And I'm not talking about a stupid sliding bar that goes at 6%. It'll last 17.9 years. That is not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about through good and bad markets, what do your accounts do? History, stress testing. These are the things that we do. Every week for 9 years, I've got on air and said the same thing. Every 3 to 4 weeks, I do workshops and I say the same thing. And some of you guys have been listening for 9 years. And it's to pick up the phone and give us a call. We're here to help you. We're here to answer these questions. Do I help every person that walks through this door? I like to believe the answer to that question is yes. Do I? Maybe not. But does every person walk this door get something on the other side of it? I believe that's a true statement. Does everybody that comes through this door become a client? Absolutely not. Not only do you not want to be my client, sometimes I don't want you to be mine. Mm-hmm. The important part is to understand that we offer the opportunity to come into a place without pressure, without sales, without all the nonsense, and get an analytical approach to retirement. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call us. I don't care where you're at in this journey. I don't care if you've got millions of dollars or if you've got 100,000. I could care less. It's about helping you make better decisions. All you have to do is start this relationship by picking up the phone. 321-414-7526. Again, 321-414-PLAN.
Again, if you'd like to learn more, maybe you're in a similar situation where you are handling all of the financial decisions on your own, whether you're single, whether you're widowed or divorced, and you'd like to sit down with someone who does this day in and day out and helps folks just like you right here on the Space Coast put plans in place for their retirement. He's Jim Fox. He's the founder, president, and investment advisor rep with Wadadley Financial Group. And if you want to get on his calendar today, again, folks, there's no cost, there's no obligation. You can always pick up the phone and give him a call right now. Again, we have teammates standing by at 321-414-7526. Again, 321-414-PLAN. That website again is getfst.com. Getfst.com. Well, Jim, this hour has zipped right on by.
As usual.
I'm glad to see your blood pressure has come back down to a normal rate. And before we run out of time on this week's show, sir, the floor is once again all yours for the final word.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, guys, every week, Kevin and I say the same thing. We know that you have tons of options when it comes to getting financial information, and we're just honored to be one of those resources. So like he said, if there's anything we can do, pick up the phone, give us a call. We're standing by to help you out. But with all that being said, on behalf of myself and Mr. Kevin Mack, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Financial Straight Talk.
Thanks for listening to Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox. To learn more, visit getfst.com.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Wadadley Financial Group. Wadadley Financial Group is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Wadadley Financial Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Wadadley Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any government agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Wadadley Financial Group.